What it do is go, what's poppin', y'all? It's your homie ATM.
It's your boy O.
And we are the Lingo, baby, back in our original stomping grounds.
Yes, sir, SYR.
You know, where
upstate.
it all started. Syracuse.
So, it was only right. You have to tap in, with a lot of, good Syracuse people,
Facts,
feel me?
facts.
And, just honestly dope people that we met up here. And I feel like Seth is one of those people that we've been trying to get on the show for a minute
mad
now.
long now.
Like since season 3.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
season are we on now?
5.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we was back at the crib, we was recording everything, at the house. We just got the carpets and everything, so we went to set things up. But she just never worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we're really glad to have you here.
And being up here, obviously we're not on our set. We technically on your set. You know what I'm saying? Out here on the Children's Summer flagship.
You know what I'm saying? We got some big special guests here too. We got Leak in the Cut.
Facts.
I got Jamie in the spot.
Facts.
Feel me? Bad
Somewhere.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Seth?
I'm good, man. Relaxed.
You know what I'm saying?
Relaxed.
This is your little abode, man.
Yeah, one of them. We got more on the way. Trying to get something off the ground.
Like, this is like, what is this space? Like, what are all these? It's like a little like.
So the McCarthy Mercantile is like, it's a space like geared towards like independent like retail and independent entrepreneurship, I guess. Like if I could call it out, Michael John Haggerty kind of manages the space. I've known him for years, and we always just tried to find a way to like work together. But I always like told him like, if we do anything, it has to be like something. I don't want to just do like a selling event or a pop-up.
Right.
I'm not really too big on those, and even when we do them, it's not just selling shirts.
Yeah.
So when he opened up the space, I think I was one of the first people to actually see it in its bare bone, just like kind of unconstructed. He walked me through it and just told me his idea. And like for like a year, probably like a good year, I just kind of watched the progress down here. And the year we had last year, as far as our product and merchandising, how things were sold, and just like the growth of our audience, I always wanted to do something bigger and just have like a place aside from our office that people could actually go meet other people and just be a part of what we're doing. So originally, we have a store now, but originally I wanted to put it on East Jefferson and Warren, where our old office used to be. That space wasn't available when we wanted it. We wanted to open a spot last year, but with pandemic and everything, we just held on to the plan. And
Where everything comes in the right timing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do like the vibe you have here. Like you were saying earlier, like it's inspired after your mom, like your grandmother's, space.
like loosely based, like the layout in here. I didn't want. Yeah, because it's like, while our intent, because it is a retail space, our intent is to sell. I still want, like, the main part was like, a flagship where people could come and chill and meet other people and just have the opportunity to, like, it brings them into our world, and it's like you have those little elements.
Right, yeah. Nah, COS is quite the brand up here, bro. Like, honestly, just to see what y'all growing and cultivating here, it's really dope. It's like, from outside looking in, like, me and Money are not from here, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when we first got here, like, no one really talks about like what goes on
in Syracuse,
the city,
like,
you know what I'm saying? So like,
it's really a SU thing, especially when you go to SU.
Right.
It's like you meet people who are creatives there and who do creative things there, but like the actual like community building of like people who are from here and people who do the work in the city is real, like, minimal, for sure. So like connecting with you was a big thing because, like, I knew of you through people, you know what I'm saying? And then when we got to link up, it was very like, it's a very homegrown kind of feeling. It's like that same feeling of like me and you, like, we know mad people from Brooklyn who do their own things, and for us it's great to see it because it's like, you from where I'm from, and we know how it is where we're from.
Facts.
So to do something like that is great. And then it's like here, because we're not from here, it's even more beautiful in a sense because it's like you're perception of Syracuse when you go to SU is really like weirdly skewed. So a lot of like weird shit.
It's jaded.
Yeah, it's very jaded. But then when you meet people from here who like are actively putting in the work to do their craft, it's beautiful to see because it's like the city's only but so big, you know, especially in comparison to like NYC.
Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting to see people really like developing and devoting the time to their craft up here.
Yeah, and mind you, to piggyback off what you said, it is weird and jaded. There's a lot of different pockets up here that are weird and jaded, but then there's those little pockets where it's like right in the middle. And I think that's where we kind of sit at. Where it's like just right in the middle of both.
Oh yeah, sweet spots for sure.
Yeah, no. Yo, so, bro, please, I would love to hear, like, yo, tell us how, like, you know, how you like, got your start and, like, doing, like, you know, what is actually doing this creative realm, wherever you feel like that started for you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would love for you to tell in a way that, like, how did, like, the space, like, Syracuse, the environment, kind of, like, fuel into that, you know, like, in many ways, because people I feel like are naturally influenced by their environment, you know what I'm saying? Like, so how did your environment influence you?
Well, not even to say believe it or not, but technically, I grew up here, like, later in life. Like, I was born here, and I lived here until I was, like, 7 years old, and I moved to Miami in the year 2000. And to be honest with you, a lot of this, I would come back up here kind of back and forth between my mother and father. But I think just the bits and pieces of things that I was, like, learned, like, in retrospect, I jumped off the porch in Miami. So the thing, like, I was already was able to take the bus line and things like that by the age of 8 and shit. Like, I already knew my way around.
Yeah, latchkey kid type shit.
So, yeah, like, these kids out there, like, that's why I appreciate the fact that they come down and skate. But, you know, to take away from what I'm saying, a lot of the things I was learning and doing down there that I could do freely as, like, a 9-year-old, like, when I'd come back up here with my dad, I just noticed there was no outlet for that. Like, I couldn't just, I'm going to the store.
Yeah.
I couldn't do, like, I feel like a part of that, just, like, knowing there's no outlet up here for kids. Every time I come back, and I feel like my peers were just so behind. Like, even down to my clothes. Like, in 2009, I was wearing, like, True Religion and shit. I just wasn't up here. And I'm like, damn, like, y'all clowning. Like, I'm like, yo, wait till this shit come up here, and then y'all gonna be wearing True Religion in 2013 when it doesn't even matter. I say all that to say, like, just living down there and coming back up here for the year and a half or 9 months or whatever I come back, I just always like, I want to do something up here that makes me feel like I'm there too.
Right.
And by the age of 20, that problem is still, like, existing. So, like, I was, like, the oldest of my fraction. And so with Children of the Summer, that was, like, our platform to have parties, to rent venues and things of that nature.
And that's how it happened, like, to give to the community, or give that, like, you know, that space.
In retrospect, but it was for us. Also, when I put out my first mixtape in 2014, there were no, like, Apple Music wasn't in existence. Spotify was still very new. Directly through our website, as well as our physicals. So yeah, we were heavy in the streets just because it was like there was no Apple or none of that. You had to actually work, and YouTube was still really early as far as, like, artists know how to monetize and market and promote and run ads and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even think there was, like, much of an ad program back then. You had to really come with it.
It does off that, like, more like you're really me and your fucking foundation, like your fans and shit like that. Whereas, like, now everything is just so, like, hyper technology. Like, you upload something, like, you never get to, like.
Oh, SoundCloud for us.
Okay.
But
SoundCloud makes shit pop more.
Back then.
Right.
When we were doing it. But even still, like, a lot of guys were, where were people up? Yeah, there wasn't really, no one really had much of an online presence up here at that time. Everybody was still, like, doing, like, blend CDs or getting the exclusives on mixtapes and stuff, which is still cool, but I think just having that upbringing down in Miami where it's faster,
yeah,
we had, like, an edge. And coming back up here and doing stuff because like I was just taking structures that I was familiar with down there.
And it's taking place in those different locations. Yo, talk to me about the music, bro. I know, like, knowing you, I know you huge G-Unit 50 rap influences.
Early G.
Yeah, early G-Unit.
Nah, y'all should see this nigga, bro. Like, the stacks of CDs, the performances, like, so other than them, like, even talk about them, like, your early influences on music and, like, how that influenced, like,
my early influence, I didn't start listening to rap maybe till I was, like, 10 or 11.
So
I didn't even really know music existed, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Until, summer 2003. That's why I like G-Unit so much, because that was my first experience of music, like, on my own. My early influences musically, I don't even think it was music. It just was, like, not even branding either. I think, I can't even say entertainment. I don't even know what to call it. But just some of my earliest references, like on top of the VCR, like again, like before we started, I was just saying, like, back at my grandma's crib, like the bigger TV would have the game for the older kids, and the younger kids that had a VCR for the most part, and I'd be watching like these same tapes like this, or the different Barneys. Like my first concert experience was like Barney at Miami Airlines Arena.
Barney? Oh my God.
So it was more so
like,
just,
the big purple nigga, Barney, yeah.
Oh, you like,
He said, yeah.
like, kid, yeah.
So I was into more stuff, like I was outside more. I was into like my cards and my games.
Like physical things, yeah.
My stuff. So I think just the character aspect of it is what inspired me most. And then when that got linked to music, when I saw like what G-Unit was doing, it just all makes sense. Where it's like you tie it all back in. And G-Unit was my first like real music experience, because that was what I had for myself.
I'm very surprised that it was G-Unit.
Yeah,
like, 'cause you were in Miami. So I'm just like, I
didn't listen to music in Miami. I was oblivious to music in Miami. I grew up different, so
so it's like,
I didn't even hardly listen to music.
It's funny
I didn't collect CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
The G-Unit.
03, I was 10.
G-Unit is so like
Yeah,
particular,
right.
bro. Like, I'm really thinking about it, like, because right now the only song that's playing in my head is Stunt 101, like on replay, and so I'm just like, wow, that's such
I'm
like.
glad you mentioned that. So you got to think, as a 10-year-old, when you're when you're seeing that, and kids at your school have these sneakers and this shirt, and then you see the video for the first time, and it's all branding. It's like, oh, I'm older and I see why that works.
I see why that works.
That was my first introduction to it, and they had all the products available.
Right.
So now I do want those. I want that. I want, because now that's my new collectibles.
Right. So would you say when you started, like, not only being exposed to music, but like creating your own music, like from the jump, was all the details already like important to you, like the marketing, the branding, like was all of that?
Without knowing what that was, yes.
Okay.
Without knowing what that was, yes. When I was in 5th grade, that's when I first started writing. Because I remember we made our own G-Unit. That was
okay.
Like, I don't know if anybody else did that, but when you're like elementary and it's like your group,
you and your homies make a
merch,
where's
like,
that?
So.
Nah, I like that.
At the time, I was writing like paragraphs. And I was writing the G-Unit stuff, obviously, but the way I'd write my bars, I write a paragraph and then I leave a blank for a featured artist. Because in my head, they write their part, and then I don't know what I used to think.
That's on one paper.
I moved back to Miami.
One page.
I moved back to Miami late 2004 until like 2009. I was down there for a minute. And there's a mixtape shop at USA Flea Market, which is no longer in existence. I'm so excited about that. But
that related to you? Related to that, Omar?
Yeah, oh man.
Wow, Florida living niggas.
But there was a mixtape shop called Philly in Miami, and I was very close with the owner's nephew, who owned a studio. I think at the time he might have been 19 or 20, and I was like 14.
Okay.
It's funny now when I think about it, 'cause I'm like, dang, he was a kid looking after
another kid, yeah.
Funny as fuck. But I used to go to the studio over there, because I used to collect mixtapes. Like at that point, I'm like, oh, this is how this looks in real life. And that's why at my house I have all those CDs, because I lost a lot of them over the years. So
Okay.
Now that I'm older, I've been just getting all my
Trying to find it back. Yeah.
So, yeah, I started going to the studio down there, and that's when like This Is 50 and all that was big, and, like the blog. So I had a blog going. Like I already knew how to kind of work the content because I was, again, like just knowing all of this and coming up. I'm like, you need that. Yeah, I did my first studio session. I paid for it when I was 14. I just started going, just doing my little stuff, and just kept going.
And just building on that.
Trying to work. It's like,
yo, y'all gotta understand, Seth is really like one of like the funniest dudes me and Money know.
No, you're that funny. You're funny, but it's not like intentional. You're just like
you.
Yeah, but it's not like niggas laughing at you. I don't know how to explain it. It sounds rude, but it's not like I'm not trying to be. You know, like you're just a funny person. Like it's nice.
It's my voice.
It's the way you speak, Seth. It's the way you articulate certain things. It's cool people though, for sure. Wow, no, that's dope. So with that, like now as like COS grows, as the music grows, how has all the skills you've learned along the way kind of shown itself in the progression of all the stuff that's coming together?
Well, with branding, it just sets us apart because we're not like, it's not like I'm on Instagram every morning like, oh, I like this flyer, I like that. How can I, you know? While I reference stuff, we know who we are and we know exactly what we're like intending to do. So we're never following like a schedule. It's more so what do we want our schedule to be?
Right.
What do we want our imagery to be? What do we want our fonts and stuff to be? And so there's that, and you just see the fact that we do marketing a little differently and have no issues with sales just lets you know like it's like that peer to peer, and that it's been like that since like we started, and that it's always been about that. So you see like even before we started, you see like the kid who came in and grabbed something, the kids who were here, they just, you know, it's not off the strength of like what we do, it's like how
you do it.
It's like we have relationships with these people outside of them just buying stuff. But it's been that way. These are people like who've like always, not even to say people who've always been around, but the community. Right?
I feel like it's easy to see where it grew. You know what I'm saying? And like I definitely say like your customers and the people that you're serving, they see it too. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what keeps up like that brand loyalty. I guess.
Where it's not like it's just like, you know, it's not just shirts and shorts.
Right.
Like that. Like it's,
yeah.
Right, because you do a lot. I feel like I think the first time I actually met you, going off that, was at the Soil Talk that you had with I think.
And see, that's a branch off of Children of the Summer that still has something to do with.
Yeah, and what is Soil for the people who don't know?
Soil, supporting our young leaders. It is it's pretty much like a youth like dashboard. How I see it. It connects a youth with any entrepreneur on the local, state, and international level. We have panel talks for it. We just started this thing called Soil in Real Life. It's a web series just kind of highlighting other entrepreneurs in the local, state, international level.
Yeah, that was hard. I mean, I feel like at the first one I went to, we had Eddie Hayes there from Underscore.
Shout out Eddie.
Yeah.
You know
what I'm saying?
In Syracuse.
Right, exactly. Dude from the city, you know what I'm saying, who's serving a city Democrat. Huh?
Nope.
Oh, I was about to say, he said Syracuse. I was like,
no, like just the fact
that was at Syracuse.
Yeah.
He was at Syracuse, but he's a predominant.
That's why I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Like you see, just to have that on his road mark, where it's like he did an event in Syracuse.
No, yeah, and like just kind of like going a little bit of a tangent. Like you spoke about community and you know, talking about Soil. I actually had this conversation yesterday, but I want to bring it back up. And honestly, any of y'all can answer it. You know, being that y'all all have spent time within Syracuse. How open would you say like members of the community are in terms of collaboration or helping out or like, you know, working with other artists or like, for example, you know, building and working, like how does that realm look like and exist in Syracuse?
Yeah, or has it changed over time?
Yeah.
I feel like while it's changing over time, there's still like there's just still different circles of people who just work with their circle of people. So whereas there's growth in the city, there's still a disconnect amongst, I feel like, the people who are making change. And it's getting better, but it's still there. And I don't think I think Syracuse could really it could become a destination if everybody really starts to think about the core stuff.
Literally, me and O were just talking about this, about like how with the talent y'all have up here, like people who are from here, and you know, especially like people who make music, like just like the people who off the top of my head like that are already at a quote unquote popping level, like you got Scory coming up.
Yeah, Post before
you know, you have Post before that.
Well, he was born here, but he
not really.
Texas.
Yeah, so like, I mean, but then again, like,
you not saying shit?
Shout out to Post.
He's not saying shit.
When you hear this
but even with that, and then you got like artists coming up who are like still coming up. Leak is a perfect example. Like I feel like, for example, you know, we're just talking about like if Westcott Theater came under new ownership, for example, and like got revamped, like that could be a great hub for like artists coming up.
And I mean, my first show I ever did here, I opened for Earl Sweatshirt at the Westcott Theater. That was my first time performing in Syracuse.
Okay,
There's over 700 people there, but the opportunity came from so Drew Shoup, he owns the skate shop adjacent to us. He gave me the opportunity because he knew we were hot in the streets. He knew we sold product. He knew it wouldn't be an issue selling tickets if he gave it to me. But you see, that didn't come from Westcott, though. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, while I tip my hat to Westcott, I look at people like Josh Feldman and people like the old bosses and other people who are like, I appreciate the Westcott, but it's, hey, I'm always down to pour cement on the situation and see what's good about, you know, like I think an analogy I use, I'm never trying to connect with the person that's already in. I'm always outside looking on the line.
Right.
Because if you're in, you're on your way out. So
there's growth. I feel like there's growth in betting on the people who are not in there already, you know what I'm saying?
I'm more interested in the new guys because they're facing the troubles of not being able to book a Westcott or things like that. They're finding their own way and they're doing sometimes better than these places because some of these places aren't adapting.
Right. Going off of that, talk to me about where did the I'm making my own music and artistry pivot into I'm managing, working with young talent. You know what I'm saying?
Just by, I feel like being the elder statesman in the situation, it was never a plan or an idea to manage other artists or do anything for that nature. But when you have a platform that benefits not only you but other artists and things like that, I look at it more so managing the platform.
Right.
And whatever springs board off that platform is manageable. Because we're not like, we're selective in what we do because we try to find people who have very like similar backgrounds and just more like work ethics and talents as us. So there's less management and more so not even maintaining, but just like, it's like a team. It's like LeBron doesn't manage the Lakers. Like, that's how
he's just tapping it. Right.
He's the lead of that, and of course he has like he helps level out the team, but he got to do his own thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
So
how did you and Leak connect?
Well, Trig last summer, I think like late May, he brought it to my attention that he found two artists, and while Trig doesn't make music anymore, I feel like he is gonna come back, but currently
it's not sounding like it.
He doesn't make. He always can.
Wait, he was on
the tape.
New hard drive.
Yeah.
By default.
What you mean by default?
What you mean?
But
it's you, Leak, and Trig on that track.
Yeah, but
Nah.
He felt like he's not trying to say something, but I'm like,
yeah, I just started. As we were working on leak stuff, I just started spending more time with him, just like on a one-on-one. And just so everyone knows, they started recording and mixing all of their music on an iPhone out of necessity.
I heard.
And just similarly, I know how me and Trig came up. I was in high school. I had to be like 17 at the time, or 16, and Trig was like younger than me.
Yeah.
And he would come to my locker a lot and just be like, yo, I'm trying to get in the studio, I want to work, because he knew I just moved back from Miami, but I made the paper, like, as soon as I came back up here. So that was like a thing at school.
Little buzz.
So he just would always say, I'm trying to get in the studio. And for me, I'm like, damn, like I can't, like, in my head, I'm like, I go to the studio too, I don't have it. And then he got his like little box set for Christmas, like 2010. And I just remember, like, Trig didn't know how to mix, he didn't make videos. He got this thing, he had YouTube. And I think when he first got it, I went over to his crib during that break, and our first session ever, we did like 7 songs in one night.
Wow.
And when I heard their story, I'm like, see, I remember when me and Trig had to
inspired
figure it out. Not even inspired me, it's just like, I saw like, okay, like, I want to do this because I remember being in that position. And I remember the OGs who stepped in and was like, yo, I got a studio over here. Feel me? It was like my duty, where it's like, oh, now's your time to do that for somebody. So,
pay it forward kind of thing, yeah.
Not even looking at it. Well, yes, that is it, to validate what you're saying, but
you don't look at it like that. It's
almost like in your head, you're like,
it feels natural.
Who's the next one that's going to do it like that?
Right.
And when you see it, you got to embrace it, where it's like, yep. Because I'm like, I'm where I'm at now based on not being embraced, based on not having opportunities. So I had to kick the door in a lot of times, to the point where that's my only approach. I can't kick the door in, I ain't coming. But yeah, I saw that where it's like they came to Trig to do a video, and Trig's like, I just want to work with them. I don't even want to charge them or nothing. So it's a year from now. We have some numbers on the board, as you may say.
See the visuals. You guys do a lot
on the way.
Visual. Were you the creative lead behind his Scory Leaks video? What was the scholarship one? The one with the books. I remember you almost study. What's the music video I'm thinking about?
We all come up with these things together, and a lot of it is just get it done. So in my head, if I'm like study, okay, I got a location for that. I know how that'll look in my head. I know how this look in my head. Feel me? So it's not like, sometimes it's not a lot being written down, but it's more so getting done.
Yeah. So I feel like
none of these videos, with the exception of Cobra, not many of these videos have so much of like deep thought, because we're actually living this life. Like the sets you see in these videos are actually like real places that we frequent.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Cobra, it's in the park. It's in the parks, in the Rose Garden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Rose Garden. So it's like, seeing that stuff, like, even for me, it's like I have a personal connection to that location. So to see that video, it's like, oh shit, yeah, I know what that is. And I love things in
the way we just make it look so elegant.
Yeah.
You almost forget that that's in Syracuse for all of the videos almost.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was thinking the same shit about, I remember one time I was watching a Scory video on it was on Vivo, and it was, I think it's like a love letter. I think it's called a love letter.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the inside of the crib, like the location. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm looking at this place, and I'm like, cool, it's a nice set. And then they do a shot outside the crib. I'm like, that's in Syracuse.
And by the
100%.
way, you have to give a lot of credit to like just Trig's vision, because he's gonna always go above and beyond.
Okay.
So that not to say it saves us, but that's just, it makes everything more smoother, because you have someone who's not gonna just do a run-of-the-mill video anyways.
Exactly.
So he's always thinking on ways to just make things better.
It's funny, the way he put it was, because I asked him if he gives 100% to everything he does, like for people who aren't his artists or people he immediately works with. And he framed it like, I don't know if I give my 100%, but I definitely give people more than what they paid me for. And I was like, okay, good to know. Like,
because his name is
like,
on it too.
At the end of the day, and it's like, I feel like at the end of the day, as a creative, as a creative, it's very hard for you to give less than your all to your work, you know, like, even if it's not your artist that you're doing the work for, like, at the end of the day, you're doing this video. So I feel like it's hard to not, you know, give your all to certain things as a creative, because it's like, it's your livelihood at the end of the day. Like, this is the work you do, is the content.
And when it's what you do, like, if you nice, you nice.
You nice, you know,
like,
you just
even
do
like
it.
I saw like a while ago, I saw Michael Jordan playing basketball with these kids, and he still hit the fadeaway. Like, this is what I do.
Yeah, this is what I do.
Like,
fadeaway guy. Like,
this is what I fucking do. 100%.
Wherever I'm at, we be 10-year-olds, 100-year-olds. I'm gonna hit the fadeaway.
Right.
So into that, I was gonna ask you, do you think? Because I know you work on your own visuals and your own music still. Do you think it's harder to work on your own content or work on helping, you know, create the content for the people?
I just go back into what I said, but like, this is what I do. So, like if you cut me right now, like, I bleed it out. Like, this is what I do. So I'm always, even now, I'm working on something. Even in my head, like, in my approach, it's a good segue for you. My approach to music is just so different. Like, I could take 2 years to not put out anything, but when it's time to go to the studio, I'll be done. When it's time to be done.
Yeah, your process is
like, I wake up and be like, yo, I got my track list.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be done. Like, got it. So even with this approach, I wasn't really planning on. I want to release my new tape this year. I don't think I'm ready. But I was working on these songs, like, kind of beginning of the year, kind of holding them for my tape. But I don't remember what happened. I think I was, like, sitting with a friend when the beat for All Wheel Drive finally was done and I got it sent to me, and I kind of just mumbled out the hook, I looked at the songs on the playlist that I had, and I was just like, yo, I think I got something that could come out like in 2 weeks if I plan this out right. I finished and just dropped it real quick. Cause like, I move in the moment. I don't live in the moment. I live with the moment. So it's like I almost feel when it's time for something, and I execute based on the feeling.
No, yeah, and like, to go back to like branding and marketing, like, I remember hitting you up and telling you, like, yo, I love, like, the promo that's being done for that project. Like, you were posting, like, posters everywhere. Like, even I saw posters on my own time. Like, I forgot where, but, like, you know, so it was great. Like, I was seeing, like, great, like, it was great promo. No, of course. I remember, like, that day I hit you up, you were like, wait, are you at the crib? And you dropped by, like, the stickers for me, and I was like, nah, this is great. Like, I think, like, just to go back to, like, the marketing and branding, you see it, like, as the brand grows, as you grow, like, with age and maturity, I feel like just new elements are always, not even new, but like revamped elements are always coming back into play, you know, when it comes to marketing, branding, when it comes to how you make your music, when it comes to how you then, like, manage people. And I feel like it's interesting, being a jack of, like, several trades kind of helps you all hone it in to, like, what you're doing at that moment, which is usually everything. Because I feel like you're always taking on everything at the same moment. Like, it's never like, all right, well, right now is the time for just this. Because for you, that's like an hour or two, and then it's like, all right, but now I gotta go do the next thing, you know? And I feel like,
to be honest, too, with a lot of this stuff, I think when you try to predict, like, how it can go, it takes longer. But again, like, that's a part of me, like, living with the moment. Like, when I feel it, it's just like, you can get all that, you can get your whole clipboard done in sitting, because you make a decision on yes or no, because that's what it all comes down to. We're doing it, you know? So with that attitude, it frees me from even having the constraints of, like, thinking about it that way. I used to, but the way I move now is just like, it's gonna happen or it's not, and that's all based on choice. And sometimes it's not, and when it's not, it frees you even more because, well,
you can't control that. Yeah, that's not on me.
Hey, it's not time for it. I'll get it off. It just might not be time for it. What was I gonna say? Oh, even with the brand, like, that goes back into my early references. So I got the opportunity to be on G-Unit's street team in 2008.
Hard. Okay.
They had a mixtape.
Right.
They had a mixtape, Return of the Body Snatch. pictures, and I'm sure moving forward they stopped doing it, but they had the office number on the back of the CD. So one day when I bought the tape, when I seen that, I was like, well,
fuck it,
just try it.
Yeah.
And when I called it and they said G-Unit, I hung up. I'm like, all right, it worked.
All right, it worked. I felt that.
All right, so I would call like weekly, and then this one woman was like, all right, kid, what is your address? And they sent me like a box of stuff to put up. But I wouldn't stop.
Persistent.
That persistent hustle,
hustle.
Yeah, and then in 2012, so I used to have to put up their posters, so I already kind of knew the quality, the prints. What was I, 14? Then 2019, I went on vacation back to Miami. Both of these things happened in Miami, funny enough. I saw a commercial for Lex Promotions, and they were just looking for people to work different MMG projects. And I got the number for that. They used to run those on TV. I was shocked. I'm like, damn, never see this type of shit in Syracuse. But I called the number back when I got back home up here, and I got the gig. They started sending a bunch of shit. We put it up, but that was the last summer I did that, because the following, I knew I really wanted that opportunity to have one more gist of learning that before we started COS in full.
To start doing your own thing.
Yep, so that following year, we was putting our own posters up. But just knowing that that's important, that's, I used to be the kid, I see one of those posters, I'm taking it home with me. And I know there's kids that, just seeing it, where it's like, you see one of these, and it's like, oh, I know Leap, damn, like, grab that, I'm taking that to the crib. So I know that works, because it works.
Yeah. Literally, like, one of my favorite posters was always the "We Are Not a Label."
Yeah.
Just 'cause it's very bold, like, it's very, like, you gotta look at it, you gotta see it. The black on white background, like, it's very, like, okay.
And that's honestly a question I had was, like in terms of, like, is COS a production company? Is it a, community organization?
Well,
y'all are not a label.
And fine,
so,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
On paper, we are an entertainment, retail, and management group, so it's like a firm. And just being so loosely based, we're able to take on just many different things. Where it's like, it's bigger, it's always kind of been, it started with music, but it's grown, so even in the beginning, we're a lifestyle brand, because I never wanted to limit it to just music. That was our life.
Right.
So it's not, I never wanted a record label. Like, so, I mean, and as we see in today's times, the idea of a label, like, as we all know, labels are like hedge funds, like investment groups.
Right.
So
they're loners.
When I saw that and I thought of that, and even just reading different like books like 50 Cent from Pieces to Weight, even thinking about, like, it was a Fader article in 2011 by 40 Shabib.
Okay.
And he just was saying, like, how OVO, like, in the beginning, they didn't take the approach of, well, while they wanted Drake signed and stuff, 40 was like, I can take that I could get that same type of money from guys in my neighborhood. So I wouldn't we were never personally trying to, like, move like that. And when I read that, I'm like, well, shit, however much, like, what is the goal? What are we trying to do? And how can we do it?
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people are misconstrued. Like, people who are trying to make music, they think of a label as, I'm gonna get signed, and your objective is to help me as an artist.
Their objective is to sign you.
To sign you and
do just
right. And to make a return on profit. And to make a return on debt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that whole methodology makes, like, labels look crazy. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to, like, come up on that.
There are some labels who have great staff and time periods that people might have grown up on. So they may feel as if they sign to that label, they'll get that same treatment. When they get into the building, they realize these people don't work there anymore. Those budgets aren't in existence anymore. And the regime has changed. Where it's like you had guys in, like, look how much people praise Violator. There were guys in that building who cared about those artists.
Right.
Who wouldn't even take them on as clients if they didn't care about it. So, and there is big artist development. That is non-existent anymore, which is why the whole idea of a label has changed, because they're not training these kids. You get in and it's like, all right, well,
Here's the bread.
Get your TikTok going. Like,
TikTok going.
pretty much. And that's not, you know, I always, just because I came up in the G Unit era, that, like, even just having the time at MEG that I did on their street team, that development. So I always took that approach at COS too, where it's like you have to develop it to the point where it can exist on its own.
Right.
Don't just throw it out there.
How do you keep COS current? You know, I feel like there's really a new era of creating music.
Same thing, live with the moment and not in it. So just even how I'm inspired by so many different moments, when you kind of study that and see how when you follow patterns and just kind of see how moments change, it's automatic.
I know. I realized. I was like, I heard it. I was like, oh my god, what's going on?
But when you can predict human nature, you kind of know when something's like, you kind of see it.
About to pivot. Yeah.
So just being in tune with our audience and actually watching our audience grow, we're able to grow as such, and we're still growing. This is our real lives, so we stay current by being current. Like, we're present.
Would you want to expand Children of the Summer outside of Cuse?
Yeah, and I think having the flagship was our first step in expanding it elsewhere, because being able to main this for upwards of a year or two, now we can take this and put one in New York and have our New York audience man now.
Because I can see a store like this in Soho, for sure,
And I've done a lot of research out there already. I'm very familiar with, I know guys at OVO stores. Sometimes I'm texting them about stuff. Rocco at Arena and Embroidery, I'm talking to him about stuff, like, just knowing that community out there. So it's like, if I do go out there,
you have the resource, you have the
I'm a part of this community
already. You're not building something.
I'm not just where these guys from Syracuse. It's like,
just came up
I know Seth and them. They've been coming up here. They've been coming here. They got a shop now. Go support those. So
same shit.
Even in Miami, where it's like, I physically can't be at the Brooklyn store or the Miami store on a Saturday, but our audience can. Someone who's been an ambassador for years is like, yo, take the keys to that and run that. Just run us our, so
if you extend out to the city, the lingo would love.
Exactly. That's why we have to main this and really evolve it to the point where you can manage 2 stores or 3 stores. It's real. You gotta keep up with that demand month to month.
Right.
Talk to me, speaking of keeping up with demand, I think one of your greatest talents is you're a really good fucking networker. Yeah. Like, I feel like you do it very much naturally, in a sense, but do you feel like you have some kind of, like, methodology to, like, how you meet people or, like, speaking to people? Like, how do you know when, like, you're someone I need to speak to? And how do you keep up your network? Because a lot of people, like, you know, they meet someone and
it goes right back.
You know what I'm saying?
It might get redundant, but it goes back into knowing, to know your audience is to know the landscape.
Copy. And
to move with the moment is to know, okay, this is where they're coming in. I give them some time before I reach out. Let them get their thing, let them learn what this really is. Then we'll reach out to them. So it's like, when we're working, they already know. Right. So even with you two, I already knew about you two, but I'm like, let that grow a little bit. There's nothing we can do right now.
You like
so then once I'm like, all right, they're there, I'll reach out to them and do him, I'll meet her. You know what I mean? Like,
right, and it grows.
Thanks. Thanks. That was like a slow burn of a correction, but I appreciate that. Thanks.
I'm learning.
I know, no, it's okay.
I don't get out. That's why I gotta get. That's why I'm back outside a little bit. I'm like, how they? What is it? But just knowing that even like, not even like, but just that as far as networking. I have a great mentor by the name of Rel Moody. He's a professional speaker, covered in Forbes.
Well, I feel like, I was like, I've heard that name before. I was like, I've definitely heard that name. Yeah.
But he's a professional speaker, and going to a lot of his engagements, just seeing how he moves and so learning about the art of likability early, because it's not about who knows you, it's about who likes you. That's important.
Right.
And I don't want to be out here like people don't like me. Like who wants to live like that?
Right.
I don't. I mean, I won't. You don't care. I know I don't care.
Someone's not gonna like you eventually.
You'd rather positive over negative. Just my upbringing and my religious views, just being able to go to temple and just having that it's open. You go to temple, it's different lawyers, doctors, just you're talking to everybody because you're in that room. So here, and just how I was raised. I think having a mix up here in Miami really helped because it balanced out. Like up here, a great example up here, in early childhood, is very friendly. You play tag, you go outside, you do those things. In Miami, the kids are a little more faster, they're more adaptive. So at 7, when I moved back down there for the first time, trying to get my mood back. I'm trying to get back into it.
Back into the vibe, into the groove.
And we back. We got a little fucking, what was it? A little symphony outside or whatever the fuck.
Fucking Philharmonic.
You know what I'm saying? Going crazy in the basement. But we back with Seth, chopping it up about, the difference between the Utes, Syracuse and Miami.
Right. So, up here I feel like the conditioning is different. Like it's a little more. It's softer. That's the best way to put it. When I think my first day out of Miami Elementary, I was in first grade, and the recess is different. It's outside. Kids already just basketball, little stuff. I thought they did tag and stuff like that. They were not interested in any of that.
They were not interested.
In fact, they were already just so adapted that
This is in Miami.
Someone who was I hit somebody in the back of the neck. I was like, tag, you're it. And then they just all kind of just stood there
not tag.
And then later, the kid who I tagged, he was like, yo, we ain't friendly down here like that. Mind you, we in first grade.
That's what it is.
I'll never forget it. And that became my close friend because he's like, well, you ain't know, but we don't do nothing.
We don't move like that here.
And that's first grade though. That's not high school. This is first grade. They already talking like that. And just things just move down there different. And
imagine a kid at recess tell you we don't be playing out here.
We don't be playing like that, bro. Don't play with me like that, bro. I'm not your man.
Yeah, that was different. And the girls are way more. The girls growing up were way more aggressive.
Yeah. Inner city shit. I feel
New York shit, nigga.
It's crazy.
I really do feel like that's some inner city shit. You know what I'm saying? Syracuse is I feel like it's a developing city. Whereas but it does have those suburb feels. You know what I'm saying? Where people
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. The in comparison. And because then I think about it now, I went to a Jewish school up here and stuff. So it's we. The conditioning is different because you're going to, it's a different, I went to a city school when I moved down there. So it's up here, school was this for me. And I went down there, it was more it was real, the real one.
Yeah, it should sound like how fucking metal detectors in the fucking elementary school.
Right? It does sound like that.
Yeah, but
believe it or not, they didn't have metal detectors at any Miami schools.
No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, got some custom.
Brother Mars in the building. God, now all the heavy hitters here today.
How you doing, gang?
Hello.
Y'all gonna get on the game in a sec. I'm sure that's why y'all two came.
I care, yo. I got next.
I was gonna say you right in front of the camera.
Hold on. What's going on?
Should we finish it? Well, we middle of a sit down.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but sit down for real.
So Brother Mars, who just stepped in, he's the art director behind New Hard Drive.
New Hard Drive.
This is his illustration here.
That's tough. Wow.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Nice to put a face behind it,
Yep.
Art, yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking of the art, so what is this tape? Is the tape still here? Was the hard drive the tape you were talking about? Because before your last drop was the tape is still on the way.
Well, the tape is on the way.
And now it's still on the way, So how did that all just come? Yeah, how did that all come together? Like,
I didn't have a title for The Tape Is On The Way. I just moved into my apartment downtown Syracuse, and I think the energy from just being on my own and really getting to live the way I wanted to live just inspired some records. And I think one night me and KO, we finished TCG Player, like he added his production to it, and then we did Northwestern and Always on Fire back to back, same session. And when I woke up the next day, I had a song called Unblock Me, TCG Player, Always on Fire, well, Northwestern, Always on Fire, Heat, the song called All Summer. Like, I had like 10 of them already just on the list, and I'm like, there's no way I'm about to like just not put these out like now. Like, so we just kept going, and I think that night I tweeted The Tape Is On The Way. Not knowing that I end up like, I think we just kept working, and towards the time where it's like, all right, we're done, I realized I didn't have a cover or a title. And I'm like, oh shit. So there's two things. So I was like, what if we just named it that and just spoofed everybody, where it's like, what is this? Is this like, what is it? Like, and the track, on your iPhone, your playlist, you know, you can make your own picture.
Yeah.
The picture was like the logo for Barney in the Backyard Gang, and I put that there so it's like, if anybody ever like used my phone or went to my music, you would skip over that, not knowing it's all my new shit.
right, okay.
So towards the end, that was the cover. Like, here, I'll show you it. That was like the playlist cover on my phone. So I wasn't necessarily playing like, oh, it's gonna be like the cover that we have is loosely based on
A Barney visual.
yeah, this one. So that's the logo for
Oh wow, okay.
Barney in the Backyard Gang.
Oh shit.
So
Yeah.
that was the picture on the playlist. But so a good friend of mine, Simon Abranowitz, he's the art director at GQ right now.
Okay.
Me and him always wanted to do something together. I've always been inspired by his art, and every project I try to like work with an artist that can best depict that moment in time for me. And when we were talking about the cover art, I sent him that image with a few others, and I'm like, I want to do this, but in coincidence with my last two projects too, where you see the growth of the child on each cover to the point in which you get The Tape Is On The Way. And he did two versions of it, and the last version was it. And I think he did it on hand too. But yeah, The Tape Is On The Way was just like, it was like a moment in time rather than just a project. So I just wanted to encapsulate like everything that was happening for me, like in those, I think we did that tape in like 4 months. Like right out of my apartment, we just mixed it at Subcat Studios.
There it goes, Subcat again, bro.
Yeah, it was right around the corner from my apartment, so it was easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a true moment in time for me, and I knew I'm like, this is probably the most ambitious thing I've done musically, where it's like not much marketing, not much of anything, where it's like, let's just see how this goes.
Right.
And just a fresh batch for me. It's not thought out like that. It's just, these are my new songs.
Right.
And yeah, having the release date of 315 to March 15th on that Sunday, I personally wanted to take that date because it's like, when will I ever have the opportunity to have like the take the ownership of the date 315-2020, just like on that day in 2020, just forever. And I think just working towards just having that moment was how that tape came to be, because a lot of those songs just every week where it's like, oh, we got Boys and Girls Club this week. Oh, it's like, it's just every week it was just fresher and fresher. Where it's like I was just excited about just having that moment was more important than just the mixtape itself to me at that time. And it did its thing. And I think the lesson behind all that was following what I really wanted and truly being who I was, even taking the Barney inspiration and like
Yeah.
this has always been who I am, and I'm gonna represent that this time. So, 2 days after we the world went on lockdown.
Right.
Yeah,
But
Literally, yeah.
we didn't drop 2 days before just because of that. We didn't even.
Right.
I didn't take it serious till April when I'm like, oh, this shit ain't going away.
Right.
But we had the project out, and it's like, yo, like none of my competitors, peers, like everybody's stuck, and I'm like, we just got free range. I could just keep doing shit, and it just showed where it's like, stand in your lane, staying true to yourself, knowing the moments, knowing how to move with the moments. Was probably why that's like arguably like my like just the best executed and well-rounded put together project I have, because I used all of that I've been manifesting and executed on that. And that whole like all of 2020 was probably one of our most successful years as a company, because we really went in with that plan. Like this is what we're gonna do this year. So
I'm assuming 315 because Syracuse, right?
yep, there you go.
For y'all that don't know.
And because I was like albums used to like music used to release on Tuesdays, and then it went to Friday based on digital. But I never even cared about any of that anyways. I always like to drop when it's just like you gotta list, like that's the only thing out there. It's just like that Sunday where it's like I don't have to worry about nobody dropping.
Else,
it's just me all day.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Wow. No, it's funny that you say like, you know, the tape is on the way. It's like a culmination of all like, you know, things that you were learning.
That came from that tweet. That's why I made it into a poster.
Oh shit! I just saw
that was a tweet. That was not a title. I just typed that one night at like 3 a.m. after KO left, and I was listening to this, and I'm like, the tape is on. I still don't, to be honest. Exclusively here. I haven't actually started working on it at all. It's still just a concept. Like that was a concept. Like so, I'm like I liked how that came to be. So I'm like, when the tape is ready, I'll know and I'll make it.
It's here.
All the niggas need to know though is that it's on the way.
It's on the way. Until then, it's on the way.
Until then, it's truly on the way. Like.
And we're gonna pivot into our favorite segment.
Facts. As we, close out an episode, like always, whenever we got a guest, it's our favorite segment, Lingo Talk with the Lingo. So we're gonna go around the room. Everybody gonna say their favorite slang term from where they grew up. You have the option of picking either or, Miami or Syracuse. But we gonna go around the room.
So it starts with me.
Yes, sir.
I don't even think that the slang that I like the most, I've always been like, I feel like just because I moved around a lot, I never thought of like a place
where it came from, right?
But just more so universally, it's always been one.
One?
That's how I end my, like a lot of my calls and stuff. Like,
that's a very old head thing to say. I'm not
gonna
lie to you.
One.
Like, one.
Anywhere.
You can, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like one to me shows people's age. Like, I feel like if you was to leave a spot and be like, all right, y'all, one, I'm be like, how old is he? Like, how old is he? And you're not, and that's the thing. Like, but I feel like you also grew up in a, even with like the bar and stuff, even with this stuff, like you grew up in like an age where like the shit that we know as old head shit was like just starting to exit out, so it still formed a lot of like your childhood and how you came up. So it's like, I'm not surprised that you chose that. That's one. Wow, I like that. I don't think anybody's ever said that. One. Shout out you for being unique and saying the one thing,
I used that though.
Yeah, you definitely said it. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I was wondering what you was gonna say, because you don't really use that much slang. From like me listening to you speak, like I don't feel like you use much slang in how you speak. So I was very intrigued to see what you picked.
I feel like another reason why I don't, I kind of do. In a sense of like, I don't use it a lot, but like in my music, you'll hear little things because it's like I'm gonna put it there for a reason. But one thing,
bro, the symphony needs to calm down. The symphony needs to relax.
Go on your bully. Tell him.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm recording an interview for some thanks.
Almost done. What's up, brother Mars?
That's 3 for fucking 3.
Where do you go? I know you can't. I told him to come today. That's why he came. Like.
Shout out the biracial couple who are fucking up our interview.
Who are fucking up the interview for real.
I was gonna say something. But
why?
I was about to say, a friend of mine, he produced on my first tape, one thing that stuck with me that he said, he was like, I like how you make your music because I can understand it. And I always took that with me where I'm like, well, because even in my approach, just try to keep it simple.
Right.
I don't know, maybe just subconsciously I don't use slang like that because of that.
We got any?
I was trying to think while y'all was talking. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, I could say for sure. I guess.
For sure.
For sure. Right.
That's a very you from here? You're not. So where you originally from?
Georgia.
I was gonna say that's from Atlanta, Georgia,
South
either South or West Coast shit. Wow. Yeah, even when you was talking, I was like, you don't sound like you from the North, like at all. Word. All right, Jamie.
I think I use bet the most, but
Word.
like my favorite lingo is probably just like dead ass. Like,
Dead ass,
You
word.
can just like say like dead ass. Like, is it good? Or like,
It's so you know.
Who's here like that?
You can use it in so many ways. It's a question. It's affirmation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you dead ass my nigga. Like nah. Okay. True.
My favorite one is probably facts because I use it all the time. But no, that's not my favorite. My most used one is facts all the time. But my favorite is cat from California. Like,
Right.
Because like you a cat, you cat. And that basically means like you playing around, like oh you catting up.
Interesting.
A new one.
That's a new one because
Yeah.
like for me like the history of cat in the city is like that's a cool cat.
That's a
like,
cool
You know that's
Yeah,
not
like-
cat daddy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what that means. Like oh you a cat daddy. Like,
I never knew
I
what
never
I
knew
never
that.
knew what they was talking about. I was just like,
Fact like the fucking cat daddy.
I was like,
I'm
alright,
saying it's a
cool.
good
Like,
thing.
yeah.
It's a bad thing.
It's a bad.
No, yeah.
Interesting. You would have never knew that from the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like, wow.
You learn something fucking new here.
You learn
every day on
something
this
new
shit,
every
you
day
know?
on this fucking show. But y'all, with that being said, Seth, thank you so much
Always a
for
pleasure.
so much
Glad
great
I could
content
finally actually be on this
and
show.
quality.
Bro.
Yo.
Just waiting for the time, the
No,
moment.
for real. Lee, Jamie, thank you for being on set with us. Trick, thank you for coming in at the end. But with that being said, y'all, it's your homie ATM.
And it's your boy O.
And we are the Lingo, baby. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we will see y'all next episode. Peace and be easy.
Shit.